Hi, and welcome to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. I'm your host, Ray Treverson from OTG Capital. We broadcast locally on Radio Northern Beaches and around Australia on the Community Radio Network. I'm really pleased to have a new guest this week on the show, and we bumped into each other by happenstance, I guess. Queen Malenga. Queen, you're from Kalgoorlie.
I am from Kalgoorlie, and I'll correct you. I've changed my name to Queen Chilenga, to my husband's name. So I am from Kalgoorlie. We moved to Kalgoorlie for like 2 years now. We are liking this community. It's a really good place.
Wonderful. Now, Queen, the reason you came to my attention is that I guess there's a licensing issue that in the role that you have, and you have a website which I'm looking at right now called Money Fitness Hub. And one of the big things I love doing on Dollars and Making Sense is about financial education. And that's what you're all about as well. So I guess you've just told us you've been in Kalgoorlie for a couple of years now. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are, your background, and what Money Fitness Hub's all about?
Sure. So I'm a social worker. I've also got a background in accounting. My undergrad was in accounting. And then I went on to do financial social work, which is done in America. I did it online. So as a social worker can be able to talk to their clients about money. So how Money Fitness Hub started? It started in 2023, towards the middle of 2023, just the age of just wanting to educate people about money stuff. So I don't know. I figured during the time with the jobs that I was doing that there was a gap in the financial literacy space, and just having that opportunity to be able to educate people about money, not giving financial advice, but just the education. And that's how Money Fitness Hub started. Just having a place to have money conversation, because there's stigma around money and not a lot of people talk about money. So creating a platform to just talk about money, and it's okay, good or bad, let's just talk about it.
It's fascinating you say that, Queen, because I guess from my perspective, I totally agree with you. The difficulty of people talking about money, we were brought up certainly around you never talk about money or religion. And so I guess there's a taboo around talking about money, and it becomes difficult. And one of the things that we have a lot of other women that come on the show, and women particularly find it difficult to talk about money because they're usually run by their husband's money.
100%,
and that kind of marriage issue
as well. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what's the main difference between a financial social worker and a financial planner?
I think the main difference is I do not provide financial advice. And that's something that I tell people, or the people that I work with, upfront. So a financial planner will give you financial advice on how to invest your money, how to estate planning, retirement, and stuff like that. What I do is to just promote financial health, because we do know that financial stress is real. And also the impact that financial stress can have on people's well-being holistically, is enormous. So that's why a financial social worker, all we talk about is like promoting financial health and just helping people to manage money without stress. I don't want people to.
I guess what's fascinating for me, I've actually lived in the West. I used to live in Perth way ago when I was in the armed forces. I did a posting over in Perth and absolutely adored West Australia, fabulous part of the world. Yeah. But certainly when I was driving through Kalgoorlie, I remember Kalgoorlie stuck in my mind because it's a very, very different place to a lot of other parts of Australia, isn't it?
Of course. Yes, I'm still learning it as well because I'm still new. We just moved from Perth, but it's a beautiful place. I did not know there was such a place as Kalgoorlie, and it's a lovely community, and people support and help each other.
I guess when you were in Perth, were you doing financial counselling there as well, or is this something you've done just since you've moved to Kalgoorlie?
When I was in Perth, there was a position that I had with Anglicare. I used to be a financial support worker. So what we did was, so we were helping people that were in hardship, and we would work alongside the financial counselors as well. But that time I was still studying my master's in social work. So the financial support worker, you would just help clients that were in hardship to direct them to get services. So for example, if someone doesn't have money for rent, you look for a service within the community that can help them pay rent and stuff like that. So
Anglicare would have been an excellent training ground and learning experience for you in that regard.
100%, yeah. And I think that's how the the edge of wanting to educate about money started growing. So then I moved to Kalgoorlie because of Anglicare. I did the program called Social and Financial Wellbeing. I was the case manager there, where I was just helping our clients. Also, there's the financial literacy. You're helping them to do their budgets. You're helping them to get jobs and stuff like that. And in doing that, I kind of like developed this passion of like, you know what, I want us to be educating people more. Like, I don't know. I have this saying, I could be wrong and I stand to be corrected. Money in Australia is not a problem. We do not have a money problem. We have an attitude towards money problem. We have a money management problem. So there's abundance here. And most of the clients that I worked with, it's not like they didn't really have money. They had money, but they did not manage it well. So
That's a very good observation, I guess. Dare I ask, where were you originally from, Queen, before you came to Australia?
yeah, sure. So I'm from Zambia. So I moved to Australia maybe 16, 17 years ago. I came to do my undergrad in accounting. So I did my undergrad with Notre Dame, the University of Notre Dame in Western Australia. So when
Well,
I
yep.
finished that, then I did some volunteer roles. So I volunteered at St. John of God Hospital in Subiaco in the cancer ward. Then I volunteered at an aged care. That's how the passion for social work developed. So then I went on, I did my master's in social work with Ketin here in Western Australia. And then after I did that, I wanted to do like money with social work. So I looked online. I didn't want to do financial counseling because I kind of like knew what financial counselors do. And most of the time, when clients go to the financial counselor, they're already in trouble. Like they are in debt or like yeah, it's already bad. So I was like, okay, can we have a gap where like someone is educating so that people do not end up there?
So
That's
you're thinking about prevention rather than the
yes.
cure.
Yes, and that was my approach. So then I looked online, and then I found Financial Social Work Center in America, where you, as a social worker, you can talk about money to your clients. So I did that certificate online, and I'm an accredited financial social worker. But then in Australia, because of the different legislations and regulation in Australia, I don't think it's accredited as much because then they have financial counselors that do that sort of thing, or financial capability workers. Yes.
Okay, so look, I guess that's a fascinating element, and ladies and gentlemen, you know that I harp on all the time about dealing with people that are licensed, and so Queen here, you're in an interesting situation that you have qualifications, but the difference in regulations between, say, the United States, Zambia, and here puts you in a little bit of a grey area, and so from that perspective, we're going to be doing a few things at Dollars and Making Sense to help. I think, Queen, link up with some of the great planners that we come across on our daily pursuits, because likewise, Queen, I don't and can't give financial advice. I'm not allowed to because I'm not licensed to. And so I guess part of the show I really want to focus on as well is the kind of situations that you find yourself in, because in Perth compared to Kalgoorlie's quite a mining town, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And again, with me, there's the social work side of things that come in it. So even the people that I see just everyday people that are trying to have, food on the table, that are trying to parent. So most of the time, the people I come across with, or my clients, they're not people that are wanting to invest money or become wealthy and stuff like that. So it's just basic money education, and becomes a challenge when you have to comply to have licenses and stuff, even just to do the education side of things.
Yeah. I absolutely understand. On the flip side, we also battle with, something like TikTok, where actually Dollars and Making Sense have recently launched a TikTok channel because there's well, I have this wonderful social media manager. She's on my surf patrol. She's much younger than me, and she understands TikTok. I have no thing for TikTok at all. But the thing is, there's a lot of people on TikTok talking about money, and most of them are not licensed. And that's where, we've decided to step up and simply say to people, look, yes, I'm a dinosaur, I'll accept that. But one of the things that we do is we are licensed, and everybody that comes on our show is qualified or has a licensing structure around them. So people can listen to this show, they can listen to you, they can listen to my guests and have a good basis that, we're talking from a place of experience and knowledge. And I think that's a great start. Now, let's talk a little bit more about your website, Money Fitness Hub, because I look through there and I think it's absolutely right, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of good basic stuff there. It's just starting at the base principles, and I guess it always takes somebody else to see a different perspective. When you said, Australians don't have a money issue, they've got money. It's just they're handling it poorly. It's nice to be reminded of that every now and then, Queen. So thank you for that. I think that's quite good.
Thank you.
Now, I guess in your day-to-day travails, what are some of the challenges you face when you've got people, say, walking into your office, or they call you up and they say, "Hey, I need some help"? What are some of the big challenges that you're facing as a financial social worker?
I think for me, the biggest concern that I have is the gap for financial literacy is becoming wider. Like, people are not financially literate.
So it's not helping?
No. I just find like the gap is wider. So then we have to start from the very, very basics with people. So we have to like the basic things about money management, like just doing a budget, making sure, understanding that you have a surplus budget and how important that is, and making sure also you're setting priorities with the things that you want. Because then sometimes I think with so I love social media, but sometimes also it's distracts people to
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Double-edged sword.
Yeah. So just to be understanding that you just live within your means, like you have to. So that sometimes becomes a challenge. Yeah, to be able to.
You can't always have it now, so that's one of the things that social media is always telling you: have it now, have it now, have it now, and we've got to try and step in and say.
And then there's things like Afterpay. You can go in the store. Back in the days, people used to do things on layback. Now we can go in the store without money, walk out with stuff. Like that is
That's a real challenge. Look, we're just about half time here. You're on Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money and investing. I'm here with Queen from Money Fitness Hub. I'm Ray Treverson. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Hi, and thank you for listening to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly radio program about finance, money and investing on Radio Northern Beaches and nationally on the Community Radio Network around Australia. The views, comments and opinions aired during our program should not be construed or viewed as financial advice. Any commentary is general advice only and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation or needs. You should consider whether the advice is suitable for you and your personal circumstances. If in doubt, you should contact an authorised licensed financial planner. We welcome questions and feedback, and you can get in touch with us via our blog, social media channels or email. Please search for Dollars and Making Sense in your favourite podcast platform or check out our blog at otgcapital.com.au/blog. Hi, and welcome back to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money and investing. I'm your host, Ray Treverson. I'm really pleased to have at the microphone this week Queen, and she is with an organisation called Money Fitness Hub. She's based in Kalgoorlie, Western Australia. For those of you that don't know where Kalgoorlie is, I hope you do, by the way. But anyway, Queen, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. We're talking about a slightly different type of financial qualification out in the market today, and that's a financial social worker. So before we went to the break, Queen, we were explaining to people the big difference between a financial planner and a financial social worker. And I think having that basis in Anglicare, where you sort of learnt the tools of trade, I think is a really good thing because a lot of people out there know about Anglicare and they do some great work, but they also do a lot of work in helping people find jobs and also settle up and do the basics. And so I guess my next question to you is, what are the typical types of clients that walk in your door and say, hey, I really need you?
So majority of the work that I've done in Kalgoorlie, I've worked a lot with young people or students. So, for example, I collaborate a lot with other organizations that are in Kalgoorlie. Last year, I collaborated with Curtin University, where I was just doing a money conversation with the international students. So we find like we have migrants as well that have come to Australia. They don't even know what tax is. They don't even know how to understand money and stuff like that. So we just do that money conversation with them. And also, a lot of people that reach out to me is parents. They want me to coach their young people or talk to their young people on how to just learn how to manage money. So currently, I have maybe 4 young people that I do one-on-one with. They are currently working and then just helping them to understand how to allocate the money when you get paid, what's important, like set priorities. Don't just go blow your money off. Set your goals with what you want to do. One of the young people wants to buy basketball shoes because they play basketball. So I'll allocate this certain amount for your shoes so you can buy your shoes. So it's just everyday people that I work with, not people that are wanting to become wealthy. I'll repeat that. Most of the people are just trying to put food on the table, or they're trying to pay rent, making sure that their rent is paid and stuff like that. So
I must say though, Queen, that where there are workers like you out there providing the foundations, though, they have that conversation about investing, I reckon, about 3 to 5 years later, because they start building wealth and they start building good habits from the great work that you are doing out in the community. I guess,
especially in Kalgoorlie, our young people, some of them, they're working in the mines, making big money, some of them 6 figures. So having that foundation and learning how to manage it well, I feel like it will save them a lot of stress ahead in their life.
I totally agree. The things that you place as foundations now, and I'm sure some of the aspects that in your financial literacy courses talks about compounding interest and the ability to put a little bit of money away, and saving rather than spending is a big element. I guess one of the things that we've tried here over East is interfacing with, say, public schools and private schools to go in and do a little bit of pro bono work and do some financial literacy, but the curriculums are very, very tightly squeezed. Do you work with school kids and do kids programs, or is it mainly after they've left school?
No, so like there's a program with one of the schools in Kalgoorlie called Stars Foundation. So the Stars Foundation is more so focused on the Aboriginal young girls. They support them so that they can finish their education. So last week or 2 weeks ago, they were doing a workshop. So I went there and I was able to talk about money. And we're able to do different money activities. I gave them a pay slips and I gave them a budget. Then they were able to, try and do a budget. Let's see if they'll have a surplus budget. So I still do work with kids that are in school. I would work in collaboration with a particular department in the school, and then they'll organize that. Yeah.
I guess I'm curious, when you walk into a classroom, are you seeing a certain base level of basic mathematics and basic understanding of what an interest rate is or a percentage means, or are you really bringing it right back to first principles?
Bringing it right back to the ground. One of the activities, some of the kids, they would know, some of them, they wouldn't know. Even sometimes I find like the teachers or the people that are attending, they benefit a lot from it. And they'll be like, oh my God, I wish we did this. And I was telling the ladies from the Stars Foundation, I'm like, I'm going to charge you guys for my information because this is for the kids. So you find that even the adults as well, they are learning from it. And because we don't have money conversation, and people even like, I tell people, like, when you go and get a loan, at least have an understanding how much the interest is, what's the term of the loan, like how long.
I agree. Don't
just go there just because they give you the loan and you're there comfortable. I tell that. And because also in Kalgoorlie, we have a lot of migrants that come to work on a working visa. They get so excited as well, because they're earning money, they can have this. So I try to, last time I did a talk was at a church. I had talking about financial peace. I was just encouraging people, like, it's very important that you protect your peace. Don't let money stuff take your peace away, because money stress is real. When you're struggling with repayments, that stays in here. It affects everything. It affects the family. It affects your ability to work at work. It affects, the holistic side of things. So I'm big on like manage your money without stress.
It's fascinating to me. I've had, probably 3-4 different presenters. We've talked about buy now, pay later, BNPL. It's a big sector in the finance game. Certainly, most of the people that I speak to are investors in BNPL because it's been this boom. It's to coin the phrase gold, my word. Yeah. There's gold in them there hills when you're lending money short term like that. Again, when I was looking deeper into the numbers, I was fascinated to find that when people are in BNPL, it's not necessarily fees and charges that they make money from. It's actually the merchant fees. And again, people aren't aware that when they're buying a product for $100, the store is actually paying Afterpay or ZipPay or whoever they're using anywhere between 3 to 4%. A credit card is only about 1.5%.
Yes.
And they normally, if you go to a cafe, certainly here, we're in my local beaches area, they slug me the extra bit. I don't know, do they they possibly do
They
that in
should. Yeah.
Kalgoorlie? But
Yeah.
the BNPL fee is actually quite hidden, and it's quite a lot more. And so, given the questions and what we've been talking about, would you say BNPL is probably the biggest enemy to good financial habits that you're seeing yourself on the ground in Kalgoorlie?
Yeah, 100%. Because then, and you said one of the words that you said, awareness. People are not aware. People are caught up in all these things because they're not aware about all those fees and all that stuff. And that's the problem that we have in the financial literacy space, because people are just excited with what's happening. Oh, well, I'll go and get it. I'll pay it later. I will have money. I will make 4 or 5 repayments. But they're not aware of those other fees that are hidden in there. And that lack of knowledge, it is the one that's dangerous, because then you not knowing
Yeah.
puts you in a very difficult place. Like me, I know, me and my husband, we have this rule. If we want something, we don't have money, we wait. You wait for it and then go and buy. As long as it's got nothing, it's not like my life depends on it. Let's say, for example, air. If I need air, okay, yes, I need, my oxygen, I'll go to the hospital. But things like if I need a phone, things that on my life does not depend on it, I will wait. And that's one thing that the community at large is lacking, the patience to wait to have things.
There's a big difference between want and need.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Absolute big difference. And I guess when it comes down to financial security, being able to look at your pluses and minuses,
Yeah.
and then looking at, okay, here's my needs. Okay. And funnily enough, I put a phone in a need, because certainly if you're on Centrelink payments, it's very difficult to interface with the government these days without a mobile phone. So
100%.
I put that down in the absolute required area.
But the brand of the phone is a want.
Yeah, but that I was about to say, you don't have to have an iPhone 16. You can go to a retail store and pick up a reasonably good smartphone for under $100 these days. It's amazing how cheap they are, but you don't have to have the top model. And
no, you don't need to go to do iPhone 16, and all they want is to make money off you. And I always tell, anyway, I joke with my participants or the clients that I work with, when we are talking and laughing about money, they want to make money off you and you're already poor. Like, don't allow them to do that. Like, you only have this much. They want to make more from you. Apple is releasing new phones every year. Why? Because they want my money.
I'm always amazed, Queen, that when I speak to credit providers, and believe me, I've talked to people that provide anything from payday lending right up to $50, $100 million projects and beyond, they tell me without a shadow of doubt the most profitable part of the market is the bottom end. And that's because what you are facing day by day in providing financial counselling support is the people that are using those services at the bottom end of the market. The people that are the poorest are the ones that usually have the poorest financial literacy. And I think, Queen, it's a real benefit. I'm going to put your money website. It's called moneyfitnesshub.com.au, and it's spelt the way that I've just pronounced it, moneyfitnesshub.com.au. I'm curious, if listeners wanted to get counselling, do you do it online and do it remotely as well?
I don't do counseling. I just do money talks. So with my participants or the clients, so they can do either online, and also we do, especially for those that are in Kalgoorlie, we do one-on-one as well.
Right.
And email is the best way to reach out to me because of the time differences in different time zones. But like, if you want to call, you call the Australian Standard Time, Western Australian Standard Time.
But I notice you do coaching. You've got sessions that I see, and believe me, ladies and gentlemen, they're very, very reasonably priced. I'm giving a shameless plug here, but I don't mind one bit. I guess in that regards, we're talking about some good habits. And one of the things I like to do on Dollars and Making Sense is to have some key takeaways. So, Queen, if you were, somebody was listening to this show, if there was 1 or 2 key takeaways, what would they be?
I think number one, I always say, look after your financial health because it matters. Just the way you look after your physical health, you go to the gym, you drink water, your financial health, you should not neglect it because it's part of your life. Number 2, if you are struggling, with money issues and money stuff, you're not alone. There's so many people out there, seek help. And in Australia, there's so many resources and people sometimes don't even know. Like, there's things like food bank, there's things like emergency relief. If you're struggling, you can just reach out. Don't suffer in silence because financial stress is real. And it can have huge impact on your overall health as well. So that's me speaking from a social work point of view.
No, and I certainly appreciate that, because you get caught up in your own little world, and when you're talking to investors, and I talk to a lot of older investors, and they're sort of broaching retirement, and my conversations usually are quite often with people that are about to retire. They've got big chunks of money that they need to be doing things with. I guess bringing and scaling it right back to people that are young or struggling. We're talking about struggling to put food on the table.
Yep.
Is the kind of reality that I certainly remember my own mum and dad. We lived on a farm, and there were times when my mum and dad didn't eat because we were eating, but they weren't, and they just smiled.
Yep.
And I found out later on they were doing without because money was tight, and they couldn't tap somebody on the shoulder and say, hey, can I buy now, pay later kind of routine. Yeah, it was tough, but they also saved. And I think one of the things that a key takeaway, ladies and gentlemen, I always plug this, moneysmart.com.au is a government website as well. I'm sure, Queen, you're aware
I use
of
it
it.
a lot.
Yep, great website. And again, check out moneyfitnesshub.com.au. I'm going to be linking Queen up with some good financial planning people that I know over here in the East, and we're going to start doing some collaboration. Queen, you do some great work there. Thank you for coming on Making Sense. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I've learned a lot as well just being here. Thank you.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye.